Hello guys, my name is Trey. This is Topic Tech, where the topic is tech. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Shure MV7X to see what is different about the MV7X versus the previous year's model of the MV7. What did they do? What did they take away? What did they add? And we're going to do that in this video right now. Let's go ahead and jump in. So first things first, before we do the sound test, let's go ahead and take a look at them side by side. These are the boxes. Here's the MV7, here's the MV7X. As you can see, the MV7X is a little smaller of a box. Not sure why. They look about the same in size. We'll pair them up and see if there's any difference in size. But this MV7X was sent to us by Shure. We got it actually a little early before release, which is super nice. Thank you, Shure, for sending this out. That way, I've always loved the MV7. I've also loved my SM7B for so many years now that it's hard to step away from it. But maybe this MV7 will be what takes us away. So let's see. So the main difference between the two, just off the bat, is the MV7X, which the X stands for XLR, essentially. That's what my guess is. There's no USB option, which is very understandable and makes it more affordable as well too, because you're not paying for those extra components in there, especially if you're not going to use them. So if you're going to be using a high-end or really good XLR system, you're probably not going to plug it up to the USB anyway. And as you can see, just from the features icon, we are going to still have voice isolation technology. You do have XLR input for both of them. They are both compatible with mic stands. It's going to be the cardioid pickup pattern. They're going to be both pretty similar in sound. However, you don't have the options to plug up the MV7X through USB while you do with the MV7. The MV7 will also have an auxiliary port that you can plug in your headphones directly into it. The MV7X does not have the headphone jack, so you won't be able to plug in to the headphone itself. Since it's XLR, you are going to be plugging it up to an XLR system, which most of the time is going to have its own headphone jack out or monitor system out for it anyway. But yeah, as you can see, just a few features that they left off, mostly all that stuff that has to deal with the USB, such as the application. So the MV7 will use the Shure Plus Motive application here, while the MV7X will not have that particular application available. Again, because you're going to be doing all the controls and all the refinements and all the sound quality is going to be coming from your XLR system. I'm going to be testing these out on the Go XLR Mini today, and we'll have them plugged up to the Go XLR Mini. We'll do a sound test to see what it sounds like. It's some more of the box, but just taking a look at it. Again, some of the main features but differences is the MV7X does not have USB. It also does not have a headphone jack on the back of it. You just have your XLR output. That's going to be hooked up to, say, your Go XLR or your Wave XLR in order for it to produce your sound. This is what you get in the box. So you get a little panel here. And I guess that's it. As you've already probably seen the unboxing for the MV7, it's going to be pretty much the same for the MV7X. It's the same hardware, but we are going to take a look at this side by side, comparing it to the MV7. So part of the reason why the box is a little bigger for the MV7 than the MV7X is because you have some extra accessories for the MV7 because it has USB connection. So in here, you're going to see you get a couple USB cables. This is micro USB, as well as a USB-C to micro USB. And this is for the MV7. So again, MV7, you'll get those USB cables, and that's why the box is just a little bit bigger, because you're getting a few more components inside of there. So that way you're going to be able to mount these on either style or size of a boom arm. So if you're putting this on a boom arm or a desk mount, however you need, they give you that adapter inside the box, which is pretty nice. So here they both are. This is the MV7X, and here's the MV7. They look very identical. As you can see, there's a couple of different stickers on the side here. This one's more blacked out, so you don't have anything there. But what's really different is on this side, Because this one has the MV7 has USB power to it. Whenever you have it hooked up to the USB, you can use this dial here to adjust the mic volume. You can also mute it there. You can also, yeah, that's pretty much it. You can mute it and adjust the volume here, which I really personally didn't like the placement of this. I never used it. However, it's still nice that it is something that you can mute and unmute if you're using the USB portion of the microphone. Speaking of USB, that's the big difference is no USB, no headphone jack on the MV7X, where you do get the USB and headphone jack on the MV7. So if you plan on using this microphone in any fashion with USB, that's where I'd say go with the MV7. But if you are going to be using this up and hooking this up to, like, say, a Go XLR, then I would definitely just stick with the MV7X because you won't need the headphone jack or the USB port being used on the MV7X. Now, size-wise, they look about the same size. It's really hard to tell the difference in them side by side if you have it flipped this way, other than being blacked out on the MV7X. But otherwise, weight-wise, they feel about the same weight. I don't have the technical weight for each one of them. However, if I do get it, I'll post it on the bottom of the screen down below. But other than that, yeah, the size of them, the shape of them, the weight of them, they both feel very identical. So what's going to be the differentiator? Well, the way that it sounds. So here's the sound test of the MV7X. This is the new microphone brought to you by Shure. This is what it connected to the Go XLR Mini. I have the dB set to 55, and this is what it sounds like with no filters. I do have the noise gate on just a little bit. I have it set to 2 just to remove any noise from like my fans and stuff like that. But this is what my voice sounds like unadjusted. And that's the great thing is having this microphone hook up to a XLR interface. It gives you a lot of control of what your voice can sound like with just a few tweaks to make it come through a lot more natural sounding from the microphone. Now, here's what my voice sounds like with a few adjustments within the EQ of the Go XLR. Maybe it sounds a little different, maybe not. But this is what I would use. This setting is what I would use for a live stream or if I was recording video, kind of like what we're doing here, to bring my voice to make it more natural. This is what I sound like if you were to be standing right in front of me, but I feel like this does an accurate representation of my voice coming through the microphone. And this is the test for, again, for the MV7X. And here's the sound test of the MV7. This is what it would sound like plugged up through USB, headphones plugged in through the headphone jack on the actual unit itself, so I can hear myself. It's not very loud, but this is with it plugged in directly through USB. I don't have any filters or anything added to this, but this is what you would get. This is the options for the MV7. You do have the option to hook up XLR as well too, but that's where that price point difference is going to come in. If you're wanting to use this with USB, then that's where I would say definitely steer for this. But if you're using it just with XLR, you can save some money and go with just the MV7X. All right, now a battle of the both of them at the same time. This is the microphone on my left is the MV7. On my right is the MV7X. I'll mute the MV7. That's what you're listening to right now, and switch it over to the MV7X. So this is with the MV7X side by side, kind of in the same orientation for both of them. That way you can get a clear side by side which one sounds better. This one's hooked up to USB. The MV7X is hooked up through the Go XLR, and this is what they sound like. I'm gonna switch again, and here is again the MV7 versus the MV7X. And right now you're listening to the MV7 plugged up through USB. Again, not many tweaks you could do when you have it through USB. You have your software that you can make some changes. But with the MV7X, you do have a little bit more control, especially specifically with your XLR interface. You can make some adjustments to a lot of the equalizer to make it sound better or sound more natural or closer to your voice out of the box. So you decide which one sounds better to you. Let me know in the comment down below and tell me which one you think sounds better. Hopefully it's both and you get both of them. But either way, thank you again for checking this out, and hopefully this helps you make the decision which one to pick up. Before we go, though, I do want to address the question is, who is this microphone for? Well, if you already have a XLR interface, or if you plan on using say a Go XLR or a Rode Podcaster, those have specifically XLR interfaces. You can't use a USB microphone. Well, the MV7 has XLR and USB, which that USB portion kind of goes to waste and adds more cost to the build of it. While the MV7X removes the USB portion because it's going to assume that you're going to be using this microphone with an XLR interface. That way you don't have to have both XLR and USB, which is nice to have, but if you're going to be hooking this up to the XLR, it just makes sense to have the component just work for XLR. So that's the answer. Is if you are planning on using a Go XLR or some type of XLR interface to control not only your mic audio, but your entire systems or your streams audio, then that's where this microphone comes into place. Hopefully this was helpful. Hopefully this is inspiring. Hopefully you pick one of these up. If you do, use my link down below, where I also have links to my live streams where I live stream on Amazon daily. I show a lot of different cool tech products such as this, but also live stream on Twitch, doing some cool gameplay as well too. So pick your poison, and hopefully you'll see you in the next live stream where you can ask me questions at any time about all the tech stuff that we talk about here on the channel. But without further ado, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Deuces.